Right, longevity. This is something that's really close to my heart. Um, we always want our dogs to be able to come and exercise with us and come biking with us for as long as possible. So we need to ensure that we're putting things in place that means that they can come biking with us for years to come. Think about injuries. If your dog's injured, then first and foremost, we need to get that rectified as soon as possible. But then you also need to think about how do we then reintroduce them back into biking after that. Our dog Rafa, he had a big operation on his elbow, and we actually thought he wasn't going to be able to come biking again. But he had an operation. We spoke to the vet, and the vet said, yep, as long as you build him back up nice and slowly, he will be able to come biking. Now, he doesn't bike at the same level he used to, but at least he still gets out and he can still come biking with us. So just think about if your dog has an injury, let it obviously rest, get the injury sorted, and then reintroduce biking again slowly, just like you would do with a puppy, just build it back up. Old age, it definitely doesn't mean no biking. The picture that's on the screen there is our dog Roxy. She was 14 when this picture was taken, and she biked up until she was 15, really. Obviously, the older the dogs get, you need to slow things down, you need to cut down the amount of time that you're biking, but they can still come out riding with you. You just need to be sensible about how you approach it with an older dog. Supplements. This is something that we have done with all of our dogs, and we have literally put them on supplements from when they were a puppy. So joint supplements, things like U-Move, glucosamine, cod liver oil, these are all supplements that help their joints that will then hopefully allow them to keep biking for as long as possible. Good quality dog food. If you've got an active dog, then make sure they are on an active dog food. Choose a high quality dog food, not a cheap and cheerful one. Again, that is going to ensure that they get all the nutrients that they need, which is then going to mean that they can come biking with you for years to come. Please, please, if you are going to start mountain biking with your dog, that is great, but never run your dogs too hard. Always give them a break. They'll tell you when they're tired. So just make sure that you pace things according to your dog. I cannot stress that enough. It's really important that you don't run your dogs too hard. Okay, well, finally, enjoy the ride. Make all the memories you can. Take loads of pictures, loads of videos. Tag us in your videos so that we can see your progression from your new puppy all the way through to your trail dog. And enjoy every second that you have riding with your dog. It's a great sport to get into. It's a great sport and a great experience to do with your dog, as long as you're sensible about things and you put in the right level of training. Okay, has anyone got any questions on anything that we've covered so far today? Okay. So trying to get that, shepherds are notorious for that. I've got a few friends that have got collies and they bite the back tire when they're riding down the road. So it's just trying to desensitize her to the bike. So again, just getting out in the garden, riding your bike around, and getting her used to being with a bike, but without her getting hyper. So if she knows you're just in the garden, she might not get so excited because you're not hitting the trail. So start off with that, just getting again used to the bike. And then if she starts doing it when you're on the trail, then just stop. And if you have to, stop, go and put her back in the van, come back, go and ride a couple of trails, come back, and then get her back out again, and see whether, kind of breaking that cycle will try and stop her from biting the tires and you. Yeah. If that was my dog and it was happening, I would probably just go and put them back in the car, because the one thing with mountain biking is if your dog's not going to be listening to what you need them to do, it's dangerous. It's dangerous for yourself. It's also dangerous for the dog as well. So I would literally just go back to basics, put them back in the car, leave it another day, and then just start with that basic training again and start just building it back up. You might just have to go back to basics with them, just to try and get them to calm down. Yeah, so the back of the bike's a really easy one because that is just the basic command of getting them to walk to heel, and then using that same command when you're on the bike. Uh, the reason we put our dogs at the back is because they're happy to be at the back, whereas your pointer type breeders, your hunting dogs, they generally tend to want to be out in front. So you just need to find a word where, like go, for example, like if I said to my dogs go, they would run, and they would be in front. So you need to, at the basic training stage, is trying to use whatever word is going to work for you, whether it's go, and just try and get them to keep, when you use that command, that they run out in front of you. It's not easy, and I've never had a dog that I've had to train out in front of me, so I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert because I'm not. It's easy with spaniels because they just want to be at the back. Um, but the one thing I would say is that I just don't like dogs running in front, off the lead. It worries me because if they stop for any reason and you're on a fast trail, it's really difficult to stop. So my recommendation would always be to get them to stay behind. However, I do appreciate that with the best will in the world, there might be some dogs that aren't happy sitting on your back wheel. They might want to be in front. So I hope that helps. I would not recommend biking with your dog with a lack of recall. That's like basic training number one. Get your dog's recall sorted, and absolutely on point before you go biking. Because the worst case scenario is you're out on the trails with your dog. It runs off to go and see somebody, and then there's another biker coming down the trail, and you can't call it back. It's a recipe for disaster. So I would definitely recommend, that until you have that recall sorted, you probably don't go biking with your dog. I would recommend GPS trackers. We don't have them for our dogs, but our dogs are spaniels, so they're never more than 50 feet from us. However, if I had a kind of higher prey drive dog, so again, like your pointers, your shepherds, etc., if yeah, I would put a GPS tracker on them. And it's also really interesting because you can see what mileage they're doing compared to your own mileage as well. So yeah, I would recommend a GPS tracker. Ooh, a collar or a harness. So the reason our dogs don't wear a harness is because they are not on the lead very often. Um, if your dog is on the lead quite a bit, now even if you're walking your dog and you have it on the lead quite a bit, then I would recommend a harness over a collar every time because it's much better for the dog. So warming up, just exactly the same you would do for yourself, is just start off really slowly. When we get to the car park, or wherever we're riding, we let the dogs out of the van. They can run around, have a sniff around, before we start. 9 times out of 10 with mountain biking, you're going uphill first, so it's nice and slow to start off with before you start hitting any trails. If you are riding somewhere where maybe the first trail out of the car park is downhill, then make sure you do warm up, do a little walk, kind of gentle run before you start going down the trail, just to get them warmed up. I mean, you wouldn't go straight out of your house and, run your fastest 5K without warming up. So, yeah, don't expect your dog to do the same. Warm them up, and then again, that will avoid any injuries. Well, Aberdeenshire would be top of the list because we live in a really amazing place for bike packing and trail riding. So we can do that all from our home, which is good. We have Been to Ainsa in Spain, that would probably be number 2 on the list. That was a nice place to go. But again, when you take your dog to places that you haven't ridden before, like they had poisonous caterpillars there, it was quite warm, so you need to take all of these things into account as well. But yeah, that was a really nice place to ride. And just anywhere in the Alps as well is nice to ride. France, Austria, Switzerland, yeah, and Slovenia, obviously, but I've never been there, but it looks good.
If there's anything that you want us to, really remember from this lesson, like this session, what would it be? Like, as you mentioned, like, keep your dog in mind, keep it fun, but keep
Yeah,
it safe in that sense. Maybe just like,
yeah, that would be it. Is if you're riding with your dog's the number one priority, not you. So just really be mindful of your dog, its health, its joints, everything. Don't be silly. I mean, it's really cool to have cool Instagram pictures of your dog sending it off a 6 foot jump, but that is not good for the dog. So just always put your dog first. Look after your dog, and it just means that you can enjoy riding with it for years to come.